Forget Spygate, Middlesbrough have got a game to prepare for. That is because Middlesbrough are facing Hull City on Saturday afternoon at Wembley Stadium for a place in the Premier League. And thankfully for Middlesbrough, their star man is back in contention. Of course, we're talking about Hayden Hackney, the player who has been out of action for the last couple of months, the beating heart of Middlesbrough's team, the best player in the Championship, as voted for by everyone in the division. Hayden Hackney is a player who is going to be there. He is going to be at Wembley Stadium, and he is looking likely to be available for the match at Wembley Stadium. Now, for Hayden Hackney, it's been a difficult couple of months. Really, he hobbled off against Bristol City with a calf injury. It was suggested that it was only meant to be a sort of minor issue, out for a couple of weeks. He was expected to be back for the match against Millwall on Good Friday. That didn't happen. There was then weekly questions to Kim Hellberg about whether Hayden Hackney would be back in contention for that week. Of course, things were getting a little bit tetchy as the automatic promotion race was coming to an end, but he wasn't deemed to be fit, and there was still then hopes that Middlesbrough would have him back fit for the two-legged semi-final match against Southampton, but that didn't happen either. Now, when Middlesbrough lost to Southampton over two legs, it felt like Hayden Hackney's Middlesbrough career was over. Middlesbrough were out of the playoff race. It meant that Middlesbrough's season was over at that point, and with Hayden Hackney's future way up in the air, it felt like he'd probably played his last game for Middlesbrough at that point, but that seems to have turned on its head now, with Middlesbrough's match against Hull City giving him one final opportunity to come back and show exactly what he's capable of. Now, Hayden Hackney is Middlesbrough's best player. He's a hometown lad, Redcar born. He's been on the record previously suggesting that it is his dream to guide Middlesbrough to the Premier League, and that dream could become a reality on Saturday afternoon if he is to help Middlesbrough get a victory against the Tigers. Now, Hayden Hackney is someone who hasn't played any football in the last couple of months. His fitness is going to be a big question mark going into this game. Kim Hellberg was asked about it in the build-up to the match with Hull City, and he said that Hayden Hackney is back in training. He's back in training today, meaning that he is there. He is fit, in Kim Hellberg's own words. The question mark will be whether he's fit enough to be a part of the squad, whether he's fit enough for a place on the bench, whether he's fit enough to play in the starting 11, because, of course, he hasn't played a lot of football at all recently, and the last thing that you want to do is have someone like Hayden Hackney starting the game, being half fit, coming off injured, or just not being that effective because he's not really up to speed. We saw it last time Middlesbrough were in the playoff final against Norwich City, and it was Patrick Bamford in that situation, a player who wasn't fit at all. He wasn't ready to play in that game, and he started the game and he just looked way off the pace. It really was a bit of a waste of a shirt on that day, and ultimately Middlesbrough paid the price, not just for Bamford, but because we were awful all over the park and we ended up losing 2-0. So it is a big decision that Kim Hellberg has to make about Hayden Hackney. For me, I think it would be great if he is involved. I think if he can even have a place on the bench, I think that'd be a massive boost to Middlesbrough and our supporters. I think that if he's not fully fit, he shouldn't be starting the game. I don't think he should be starting the game at all costs. I think it would be more than happy for him to play on the bench and maybe come on with 20 minutes left if it's needed. But at the same time, I don't think you want to be taking any risks, really, with his fitness, because it is going to be a high-stakes game. It's going to be high intensity. And so you need players out there who are fully fit and are able to put in the required shift to get Middlesbrough over the line, because the main thing on Saturday, regardless of player sentiment, is getting over the line, getting that victory and securing promotion to the Premier League. Of course, it's been a real fight to get to this point with the Spygate saga dominating headlines over the last couple of weeks. If you're anything like me, you're a little bit bored of it at this point. So we're not going to go into all of that. But of course, Middlesbrough having just a few days' notice for this match against Hull City. And so attention does turn to the football now. And it is really important that Middlesbrough do knuckle down. They do get their heads in the game for this one, because with just a few days before the match at Wembley Stadium, it means that Middlesbrough have a lot of work to do, a lot of catching up to do to make sure that we're physically, mentally, emotionally prepared for what's going to be a massive game at Wembley Stadium. Now, we spoke about Hayden Hackney. We spoke about the hope that he'll be involved in some way, shape or form. He could be a massive influence for Middlesbrough on Saturday. But of course, the big question mark about his future goes into the summer transfer window. Hayden Hackney, as I said, he was voted Championship Player of the Season. He was very close to leaving the club last summer, turned down a move to Ipswich Town, and so it was very much expected that this summer, if Middlesbrough failed to get promoted, he would almost definitely be heading out of the exit door. In truth, even if Middlesbrough do get promoted, there is still a possibility that he could move on, such as the level of interest in his services. We're seeing clubs such as Crystal Palace interested, Manchester United have been keen, particularly now that Michael Carrick has got the other job full-time. There's been clubs all around Europe who are interested as well. So it's going to be a really, really interesting summer for Hayden Hackney. And Middlesbrough could be powerless to losing him, really. He's only got a year left on his contract. It means that we are in the unenviable position of, if we leave it another 6 months, we get to January, he would be in a position to discuss pre-contract terms with clubs around Europe, which means that Middlesbrough could risk losing him for nothing, which is really not what we need. We do need to, at the very least, be attracting a decent offer for him. I mean, of course, Middlesbrough would love him to stay at the club, but if he is going to move on, we cannot afford to let him go for nothing. And so that's why this summer is so pivotal. But if Hayden Hackney can play his part on Saturday and help us get promoted to the Premier League, it could put us in a much stronger position. The first choice, of course, would be that by playing Premier League football, Hayden Hackney could choose to stay with Middlesbrough. It's his dream to play in the Premier League with the club. Of course, he would be the absolute standout star for Middlesbrough in the top flight. I mean, if Middlesbrough were to have any chance of staying in the Premier League, you need quality players. You need players like Hayden Hackney, and he could make all the difference in that situation. Even if he doesn't stay with the club, Middlesbrough would be in a position where if we were in the top flight, we might be able to demand a little bit more money for him. Might be able to be a bit more selective, up the stakes. Instead of maybe getting 20 million for him, for example, it might be that we're able to push for 30 million, because all of a sudden, with that 200 million pounds burning a hole in Steve Gibson's pocket, we may not need the money from Hayden Hackney quite as desperately as what we would if we were staying in the EFL. So there's a lot to weigh up with regards to Hayden Hackney. There'll be a lot more videos on his future as we go into the summer, but certainly for now, going into this match against Hull City, it's absolutely wonderful news that Hayden Hackney is back in contention for this game. Whether he's starting, whether he's on the bench, whether he's just a cheerleader behind the bench and someone who was painfully close to getting involved but not quite, is going to be great to see him back involved with the team. I think he'll be involved. I would probably, if I was putting a bet on it, I'd probably be suggesting that he might come off the bench. He might be an impact sub, and that would be a really good position to be in, because to have someone of that quality available on the bench to come on and potentially change the game if it's needed against a really good Hull City side is a really strong place to be in. We saw it against Southampton. We didn't really have those quality options on the bench, and certainly if Hayden Hackney is there, we would undoubtedly have a player who could come on and really flip the game on its head if it's needed. So I'm really looking forward to the match against Hull City at Wembley. It's been a really tight turnaround getting sorted for heading down there, but I have got a ticket for it. I hope you all have as well. Tickets still remain on sale at the time of recording, so I do hope everyone can get sorted. Everyone who wants to go to Wembley has the opportunity to go, and fingers crossed Middlesbrough can pull off something really special to top off what has been a really topsy-turvy season and could really end it in style. So I'll be back after the playoff final. I'll be back with some reaction from Wembley. We'll have some live videos and some footage coming from Wembley Stadium on the day. And of course, there'll be lots of reaction in the other days that's following. So if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit like. Please do hit subscribe as well. Drop into the comments below and let me know your predictions for the match against Hull City. And I will catch you at Wembley Stadium. Up the Boro.